Alright, good evening folks, it's Enforcer Matt and welcome back to another short war video, and today we have very big news coming out of Iran and Israel. Right now we're getting massive word that mass evacuations are taking place in the Iranian capital of Tehran right now, as citizens have begun emptying store shelves in anticipation for even more chaos. We've also gotten word that US officials say it's still possible that we may get involved in the conflict with Iran coming up very soon, and also, in the meantime, Israel's been carrying out massive airstrikes on Tehran overnight, striking the Mehraban airport and the Iranian intelligence headquarters and other major targets. Meanwhile, the state of Russia has begun evacuating personnel and its citizens from Iran effective immediately, and we've also gotten a bombshell claim today that Israel claims that Iran intended to transfer nuclear weapons to the Yemeni rebels if they successfully developed them and got them to a working state. So we've got massive news to cover today, and let's jump into our first major article, which goes to Insider Paper. And right now, this is one of our biggest stories of the day that we're seeing right now. We are seeing that in the Iranian capital of Tehran, there are mass evacuations underway after Israeli strikes, and right now the roadways are absolutely jam-packed with cars trying to escape the capital city of Tehran to get away from the danger that is currently being posed by these Israeli strikes. So we do have some video evidence here showing the roadways absolutely jam-packed, so let's take a look and see just how bad it really is. And as you can see right here, this is a major highway inside of Tehran that we're looking at right here on camera, and it is absolutely jam-packed. Notice the way into Tehran is pretty much completely empty, but the way out, that side of the road, is completely jam-packed all the way through. And this is not the only road that's like this. This is just one of them that we're looking at right here. So clearly the citizens of Tehran, they are getting panicked to the point of fleeing the entire situation. And there's another road right over there you can see out in the distance that is jam-packed right there on camera. So a lot of citizens fleeing right now at this very moment. It's also creating a very dangerous situation for the situation on the roads right here that we're looking at with the civilians. So that is the current news coming out of Tehran right now about the mass evacuations. And moving on to our next post here, this one goes to the Mossad commentary, and we can also see some more footage showing more roads out of Tehran that are also jam-packed on the way out. So let's take a look at that one. And there you can see it, just lines and lines of cars. And you can see right here, this guy is driving into Tehran. There is pretty much nobody on that side of the road at all. Like, nobody wants to go in there because right now it's a war zone inside of Tehran, but everybody wants to get out. And this appears to be a mountainous road leaving Tehran, maybe going to the north. I really can't tell from this angle, but it does appear to be probably something of that nature. And as you can see, it is just jam-packed for miles and miles. You literally can't see the end of the pile of cars trying to get out. So once again, and this video goes on for like a minute and a half, showing how many cars are on the road. This is a lot of traffic on the way out. So massive traffic jams, and once again, a lot of civilians trying to flee. But with that, it's now time to move on to our next article here, and this one goes to Clash Report. And also to add to the confusion, we're seeing the stores inside of Tehran being absolutely ransacked right now by the civilians that are left behind in the capital city. And right now, the civilians are panicking so bad, they're trying to get as much food and supplies as they can to stock up on to put in their homes in case they need to stay in there for an extended period of time. So this is a massive, very big situation right now, the civilians, and let's take a look at the stores being absolutely emptied right this very moment. And look at that. Just there's all kinds of stuff on the ground right there. Looks like somebody threw a bunch of stuff down. There's also appears to be stores closing as well as a result of all this chaos. And also it appears that people are grabbing whatever they can. They're even grabbing boxes of stuff as well and just carrying it right out. So clearly some chaos right here in these stores and in this mall that it appears to be. And this is being reported around Tehran. So this is not the only place that this is happening. But once again, a very bad situation breaking out right now. And with that, folks, it is now time to move on to our next news article here. And this one goes to the Newswire, and right now we're getting word that the Russian government is evacuating citizens from Iran, according to RIA News. And once again, not only are the Iranian citizens taking this very seriously, but now even the Russians are trying to get their own people out, because of course there are rumors that there might be regime change happening inside of Iran very soon, because the regime right now is extremely weak, and it looks like the Russians are taking that seriously and getting their citizens out right now, and there are active evacuation operations underway by the Russian government at this very moment. So it appears to be quite a bad situation for the Russians as well. But jumping into our next news article here, this one goes to Open Source Intel. And moving away from our news about Tehran for the very moment, we are getting some bombshell allegations right now from Netanyahu inside of Israel. We are hearing from Netanyahu that he says the Iranians intended to transfer nuclear weapons to the Yemeni rebels as well, and the intelligence from Israel shows that they've begun developing intercontinental ballistic missiles capable of reaching the United States. Now, that is a crazy claim right there. We knew the Iranians were developing launching nukes, but we did not know the Iranians intended to give some to the Yemeni rebels, which is of course a proxy force, which is extremely unstable down in Yemen. So really not sure what to make of that, except for this was definitely the right move to go in and attack Iran right now, because if they were planning on giving those nuclear weapons over to a proxy force, that is the utmost levels of recklessness, and Iran had to be stopped. So a very bold claim right now from Israel that we are hearing at the moment. But with that, we're now moving on to our next news article here, which goes to Fitex Network. And we also have another bombshell piece of news right here on a different front. Right now we are getting word that the United States actively vetoed an Israeli plan to assassinate Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei in recent days, according to two U.S. officials telling this to Reuters. So that is a pretty bold claim right there. Apparently Israel wanted to take Khamenei out, but the U.S. actively vetoed it and said do not do that for whatever reason. So we're not really sure what the reasoning was behind it, but right now we are hearing that there was a veto by the United States on the Israeli plan. And also Netanyahu even responded to the veto as well on live television. Netanyahu said that apparently Israel will do what they need to do regardless of what the United States says, and if they deem they need to assassinate Khamenei, then they will do it regardless of what the U.S. is saying. So a pretty open statement of defiance by Israel toward U.S. policy on the issue, and once again, I'm not really sure where this is going to go. There seems to be some friction between the U.S. and Israel at this very moment, so that is certainly something to keep an eye on. But moving on to our next post here, this one's going to go to Max25. And in the meantime, while we've seen all this stuff happening on the diplomatic front and also the evacuations from Tehran, we've also seen absolutely massive strikes happening on the capital city, which is Tehran. And right now we've seen smoke rising over the Iranian Navy headquarters area and the Ministry of Intelligence building right in central Tehran. So we do have a short video here showing the smoke rising from the building, and also we do have the aftermath in our next post coming up in a moment. So let's take a look at the video and see what the damage was. And there you can see it right here in this video. There's the smoke rising from the Ministry of Intelligence building in central Tehran, and this was a direct strike by Israeli Air Force assets. So a very direct strike, and obviously it did hit right on the target, as we can see right here in this video. But what's even more crazy than that is the aftermath of it. How effective was this strike? And moving on to our next post here, this one goes to Fitex Network, and as you can see right here, there is the aftermath of the strike. This is the IRGC Special Intelligence building, or the headquarters building. And I would say let's put that in the past tense at this point, because this building has been decimated by these Israeli airstrikes. As you can see, a humongous portion of the right side of the building has been completely wiped out, and also the left portion has been damaged and windows have also been blown out. And look at the street. I mean, the rubble is literally all over the road. The cars are flattened. This is a devastation right here of this building, and this was the Special Intelligence headquarters of the entire Iranian government. So that is crazy. A very big hit, and a confirmed hit actually this morning by the Israeli Air Force on the Special Intelligence HQ. But with that, we're moving on to our next article here, and this one goes to the Israel War Room. And also, we've got even bigger news about that strike on the Special Intelligence building. We have heard from Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. He has confirmed the elimination of the Iranian intelligence chief and his deputy in that strike on the very building which we just saw. So they eliminated more top government officials in Iran's military and government structure, and this is yet another top assassination that we've seen from the Israeli officials. So this is absolutely insane right here. And also we are hearing that his name was Mohammad Kazemi, who was the head of the IRGC intelligence, was targeted in an IAF strike. So once again, two individuals taken out that were very crucial to the Iranian effort. So that is a big win for Israel. But moving on to our next post here, this one's going to go to Fitex News. Also, after we heard about the destruction at the intelligence building that we just saw in the last post, we also see here that a brand new wave of Israeli airstrikes is ongoing in Tehran as of 5 hours ago, and the Mehrabad Airport, their major international airport in Tehran, is among the targets that have been struck. We've also seen here some pictures showing some of the strikes and the smoke rising from the damage as well that we see right here in our first image. And we also have another image here showing more smoke rising from what appears to be a neighborhood inside of Tehran as well. And in our next post in just a moment, we will see the damage at the airport, and also we will see some air assets of Iran taken out as well on the runway. But as you can see, Tehran is under active attack as of recently, as of 5 hours ago, and also sooner than that. But moving on to our next post here, this one goes to Global Military Info. And in this post right here, we can actually see more damage at one of the airports inside of Iran, because the IDF has confirmed a precision strike on an Iranian refueling aircraft at the Mashhad airport in eastern Iran. And as we can see right here in this photo, there is clearly a refueling tanker right there in the midst of that smoke. Right behind the watermark, you can see it. There is a refueling tanker that was full of fuel and was designed to refuel the aircraft that Iran is currently using to defend their skies supplies for whatever it's worth at this point. So it is now in flames. It will not be able to refuel anymore with that aircraft because it is now destroyed effectively right now. So as you can see, a lot of smoke coming up from it and a massive fire emanating from that aircraft, and I suspect that will not be the last of the strikes we see on these type of aircraft. There will probably be a lot more than that. But jumping into our next post here, this one is going to go to Clash Report. In the meantime, we've also seen that Israel has reportedly targeted a missile base near Tehran as well, and also I have a lot more strikes to show you right now. These strikes are extremely wide-ranging that Israel's conducting right now, and they're also massive, so it's a lot to cover. But this is a missile base that was also struck simultaneously as the airport was struck near Tehran. So let's take a look at the video and see the missile base clearly going up in smoke. And look at that. You can see out there in the distance, there is the smoke rising from that missile base. And as you can also see in the distance, there is orange smoke as well. That does confirm that is rocket propellant that is on fire out there in the distance. Let me go ahead and mute this video as well. And you can see there is the orange smoke on the right and left. And there's also some black smoke emanating from the center of the structure as well. So clearly, it does appear to be a missile base that was near Tehran that was taken out with a precision strike. So very good hit by Israel, once again, near Tehran. But moving into our next article here, this one goes to World Source News 24/7, and also in the meantime, the absolute chaos that's going down right now is insane. The 5 car bombs also exploded simultaneously near government offices in Tehran, Iran, and we're told right now in a preliminary report that the targets of these car bombs were apparently nuclear scientists, top nuclear scientists that Iran used for their nuclear program, and also they were trying to also take out at the same time some more government officials. So let's take a look at the video and see some of the smoke emanating from one of the car bombs that went off in central Tehran. And there you have it. There is the smoke emanating from one of those car bombs that went off right there in central Tehran, right next to a government office. And remember, there were 5 in total of these type of strikes, and I can only presume there was most likely Mossad agents on the ground acting in Tehran to try to take these officials out. Once again, we've heard a lot of reports of these Mossad agents running around the area of Tehran and launching FPV drones, and also there have been allegations of maybe even spike missiles being used to take out government officials on the ground. So a very coordinated operation between the air assets and the ground assets that are currently on the ground in Iran, and we do see that here in this video. But with that, it's now time to move on to our next post, and this one is going to go to Fintech's network. And also, while all that chaos is going on the ground in Tehran, we're also getting reports indicating that multiple drone attacks have hit critical infrastructure, including airports, radar installations, and telecom systems in Karaj and also western Tehran, and explosions and smoke were also reported in several districts of the capital, and we do have another image here showing that right here in this picture. There appears to be maybe a telecom system of some sort that has been attacked out here in the distance, according to the reports. And also, we do have a video here showing apparently maybe a radar installation or something of that nature also being struck. So let's take a look at this video. And as you can see right here in the distance, there appears to be some type of installation, maybe a radar installation up here on the top of this hill right here, this mountain. And as you can see, it does appear to be emanating smoke from it, apparently from an Israeli airstrike. So more of these targets are being taken out across Iran. And like I've said multiple times at this point, these strikes are wide-ranging. Like, there is no limit to these strikes at the moment, and Israel is going all out, pretty much hitting everything they can possibly hit at the very moment. So very wide-ranging strikes, and we are seeing that in that video as well. But with that, we're moving into our next post here, and this one's going to go to Fintech's network once again, and we've also gotten an aftermath video showing the heavy damage to the Shiraz Electronic Industries building following an Israeli strike. And just a reminder, this facility is a key hub in Iran's missile and radar development. So another strategic site taken out by Israel that we have seen here in the video. So let's take a look and see what happened. And as you can see, it looks like this electronics facility is just absolutely busted at this point. This thing is absolutely blazing right now. It looks like there's a bunch of sand mixed in with that smoke as well, and it is just a mess right now. But this was a very important facility for the military manufacturing of Iran at the very moment, and we can see that this individual here is driving by, apparently driving to work or something in the midst of this, is filming this disaster right there. In fact, I don't know if this individual that's filming this maybe worked there, but if he did, he's now out of a job because that entire facility has been leveled by the Israelis. But that video clearly does show the destruction of the Shiraz Electronic Industries building there following an Israeli strike. But moving into our next post, this one's going to go to open source intel. And also, we have seen a situation in Tehran that has happened which is quite nasty and quite bad. Right now, a strike in Tehran has ruptured water and sewage pipelines, causing massive flooding and damage. And I guess you could say at this point, it really is truly a shitstorm inside of Tehran, and we do see that here on the video. So let's take a look. And as you can see here, there is sewer all in the streets of Tehran. That is a nasty situation right there, really adding insult to injury, I must admit myself. This is quite bad for the citizens, and once again, I bet that smells pretty bad, if I do say so just from looking at it. So, once again, a very bad situation. The infrastructure inside Tehran has been struck by the Israelis, and now there is a poo in the streets, as we can see right here. So it's sort of metaphorical of the entire situation, actually. But moving into our next post here, this one's going to go to Clash Report. And also, we've seen the Iranian Ministry of Justice building has been hit by the Israeli airstrikes as well. It looks like it hit the top of the building and damaged quite a bit of it. So also, let's take a look at the Ministry of Justice building being taken down as well. And there you can see it. There is the Iranian Ministry of Justice building clearly taking a direct hit right there on the top of the building. And I guess you could say that justice finally came around to this building, and it looks like it will no longer be dishing out any of those fake rulings that it used to do on the poor citizens of Iran. So there you go. It is taken out as shown right there in that video. But moving on to our next post here, this one's going to go to Disclose TV. And we've got some big news coming out of the United States right now about potential involvement of the U.S. military in this war against Iran by Israel. And we are seeing in a report right here from the ABC News that apparently the United States president says it is certainly possible that the United States could get involved in the Iran war right now on Israel's side. So this is another big bombshell piece of news right here. There is the strong possibility the U.S. could send in troops or maybe even air assets to start attacking Iran if we deem it necessary. Now, for me personally, I would say in my assessment, I think the red line for that is major attacks on U.S. bases. Right now, we've only heard of one small drone attack on one U.S. base, and that was the only one we've heard of so far that has been confirmed. So we are waiting to see if this actually turns out to be something, because if it is true, and this is a real true statement here with actual intent behind it, the U.S. could be entering this war imminently at some point here in the near future. So that's another big statement coming out of the United States. But with that, folks, that is actually our last piece of news of the video. But before you go, subscribe to the channel as well for more daily war updates just like this one. And also, be sure to join us tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, or maybe even earlier than that, to cover the rest of the breaking news happening throughout the day, because this situation is extremely dynamic right now, and there are a lot of moving parts to it. So it's a lot to cover all at once, and hopefully we've done a good job here on this video of covering the events through last night and up to this point. But if you found our content really good, you can actually support the channel on our Patreon page, and the link is down in the description below for Patreon, where you can go over there and sign up for a monthly membership and support the channel that way. And that is a huge help, because our channel is pretty much crowdfunded and crowdsourced, so we do appreciate all that financial assistance that helps keep our work running and helps keep us on the air. But with that, folks, thank you all for watching. We'll see you all later on today to cover the rest of the news, and with that, bye-bye for now.